Hello, welcome to another episode. It's the morning-ish here. I'm very tired. Today in this episode, I'll be talking about mental health and gaming. Cool, so this will be, I don't know if it's different, I just haven't seen it. But we'll be talking about, this will be personal to me, so it'll be about my mental health. So I've gone through some stuff lately and it's kind of affected Streamcast a little bit. All my production on the Streamcast team. We'll talk a little bit about that and how games have helped. Because I feel like, some people talk about how games have helped them, but I won't talk about a specific game. I think it's important. So, how far did we go back? Maybe a year and a bit. My daughter was born. Lovely, beautiful baby with my now fiance. And it is and has been a very difficult year. The life experience I won't go into, but it was difficult. I remember writing a post, I'll see if I can dig it up, about the experience, and it was very difficult. I remember people saying, if you can reach out. And I think the thing is, for me, and why I find it incredibly difficult, although I love the gesture, is, and I say it to people all the time, if you're feeling something, reach out. I find it incredibly difficult because you're in it and you can't see a way out. So when people are like, oh, reach out, oh my God, I really need to. I will do this after the video. It's just grown out. I need to wash it as well. Sorry, I already started, as you can see from this one. Yeah, so it was a difficult time for me. And still is. I think the difficulty is, it's the weight of looking after a child, looking after everything. For me, the last year and a bit has been, but it's not been all bad, there's been some fun moments, but there's a picture with her, and I didn't realise, but I think that pretty much explains my time as a parent. Like, it's almost like I'm not there, I'm a zombie-like, and I'm gonna be honest, it's very hard to look at. So throughout the year, my mental health was peaking and troughing, I'm sure like everybody else is, because of the pandemic as well. I'm working from home, I phoned up a couple of times, work had some help. But it wasn't really until New Year's Eve that it really plummeted. I think it's the realization that I don't know who I am, which is a weird thing to say, but yeah, I had lack of identity, I had a lack of, what else did I have a lack of? Well, aside from sleep, like a lack of purpose, and I kept feeling like I let people down, particularly the team I work with at Streamcast, because people know me, I'd come with a lot of ideas, and sometimes I can fall and sway when it comes to execution. And they've been good. I've been thankful to have the team I have. They understand the situation I'm in. But I felt like I let the team down because there was so much I was meant to do and I just couldn't. And so much I was balancing. There was a lot of balancing at home. From the birth, my partner's back hasn't been great, so there's a lot she can't actually do, so I have to do that. So New Year's Eve was tough and kind of broke, I'd say. And then a couple of months later, I did again, and that's when I called, who did I call? Samaritans. Everyone's experience is different. That particular call I had, I felt rushed off, but I kind of get why, I guess. Well, now I get why. At the time I was pissed. I called Mind as well. I've done therapy as well. But anyway, all of that aside. So I've done that, tried to look for support, and I did need support. And eventually I did CBT, I did 6 therapy sessions where in the discussions we kept acknowledging the fact that I need more than 6, it's long work. Which is fair, it's cool, it's just it's by the edit, it's free. I'll put the link down below as well for that one. So after the difficulties, one thing came up when I was going through the timeline. A lot of the times I drop off and drop on, but I don't think people see it or they notice, but I do a lot. So I came back on and I saw a tweet from the Nerd Alternative and shout out them, man. And I don't know who he is. I don't know who runs the Twitter account, but they were very helpful. And they suggested Rayman Legends, which was very, very cheap on the PlayStation. This is where I bring in the gaming. So I play Rayman for a bit. So I have a love relationship with Rayman. So it was one of the first games I played. The first game I beat after my parents got divorced, because that's the game I needed my dad's help on. So when he went, it was kind of the first game of us being like, yeah. It's a weird thing to say, but almost like we can, even though he's there to support, like he didn't run off or anything. It was just parental stuff. It's like, yeah, we can do it without him, sort of thing, because he did a lot of stuff for us. So it was the first game at the time I beat as well. So I have a very strong relationship with the game, but I fell out of love with 2. I didn't like the change in art style, which Legends is pretty much like art style number 2. Anyway, I thought I'd get back into it, and a couple of things happened, and it was very, very beneficial for my mental health, but it was balanced as well. So the good thing with Rayman is, and in my life, was that I was busy. I am busy, and it doesn't take long to play a level or 2. So I could just tune out and play that level. Because it's such a baby-friendly game, I could play with my daughter, which was nice because it's kind of the relationship myself and my dad had. I don't think I've really spoken about it or acknowledged that, but we had that relationship of playing games, and that was, like I said, one of the first ones, and I was able to play with her, and that really, really, really helped my mental health. And what else was there? The levels, how it's designed, the gameplay, and the music, and how it kind of takes from popular culture, and how the levels work. I'm not fond of the gambling thing, the scratch cards. I don't see the need for it in a kid's game. However, because we're doing sensory with my daughter, having the PlayStation Scratch, she's hearing it and she's able to kind of do it. It's great for a sensory play. I mean, I did scratching. I'm not going to let her do it, but she just likes the noises from it. So it was a good bonding thing, and I just sat there and I thought, games get such a bad rep, understandably, and then people give you specific games to play if you're struggling with your mental health. And this is definitely not going to be one on the list, and I wouldn't encourage it for everybody. It's just my personal relationship. I think for me, if you are going through something and you do need time out and gaming is your hobby, find a game that you love but you won't get sucked into. Because I think when people talk about the need for things, I do feel like you need an escape. I think you need multiple escapes, because I think there is addiction in gaming or anything you rely on, and that's one thing I didn't want to do. Find something that I've relied on too heavily. It's nice to have a wide range of activities you love that can kind of get you in different places. And because it was short and I could play a couple of levels and whatever, it kind of reframed. I can't do as much now, but at the time it kind of refocused me a bit and took me out and was able to kind of carry me until we started. Therapy doesn't start straight away if you don't pay for it. There's normally allocated times. It kind of carried me from the moments where I was feeling a bit low into those moments of I completely forgot. Into there's low moments into the periods where I felt like I was a little bit better. I wasn't completely out. I'm still not completely out. I'm still struggling a little bit time to time, but it's a lot better than what it was and where it was. It's just a lot to do sometimes, and it can be a bit overwhelming. But yeah, it really, really helps. And I think for me, if you are struggling and you do struggle to talk, because I think there's a period in which you need to come out. Sometimes it's like it's almost like you're really close to the edge and then you reach out, or you're kind of middling a bit and then you can kind of peak out a bit. Then you have to reach out, and I needed to peak out, and that definitely helps with the peak. Just playing that and just not being in my head as much. So, because otherwise things are just relentless, isn't it? Especially in this pandemic. So my thing is, well, if you are struggling with mental health for whatever reason, I'm probably in a better place to listen now than I was a year ago. So I'll give it a shot. I'll try to help you, but call a professional. Not everyone's experience is the same. If you can afford therapy, try to go. I found this session for people as well below that they can try and sign up to. Your councils may be able to offer you CBT if you have anxiety over stuff. And yeah, Play the games you love. Take a break. Don't let it consume you, which is a hard thing to say, but play it hour, 2 hours. Enjoy it, kind of reframe, get out of whatever situation you're in. And hopefully day by day, things get easier and better for you. I don't know how personal that was. It felt personal-ish. Obviously there's things I have to keep, it is still my life, so I'm not going to share everything. All the difficulties. But I think it was important to speak about. For many reasons. I think it was important to speak about. And yeah, I don't really want, no, it's coming off rude. If you're not comfortable, you don't have to tell your story and you don't have to tell it to anyone. That's the first thing I want to say. If you are great, please tell it. But first and foremost, look after you. It's hard. I find it very difficult to look after me. There's other people to look after, and that makes it a lot harder. I'm sure a lot of people are in that situation. No matter how young they are too, and no matter how old they are, you sometimes find yourself as a young carer, or maybe your parents left and you feel the burden of having to look after your family. You need to take time for you, because otherwise your mind in this world will eat you up, and you'd find difficult, tricky methods to cope. Methods that might not be in your best interest. So for me, luckily I have gaming. I'm having a look at other things and other stuff to do, especially now the world is opening up. I really wish I learned skating, because then I could have just done that. I'm just with free headphones and just that rain, rain or sunshine. But yeah, those are my thoughts.